For more in this is Uri Perednik. He is the chairman of the Struggle for Ethiopian Aliyah. And Gezahegn Workie, he is a member of the Jewish community of Gondar, Ethiopia. And Gezahegn, let me just start with you. We just saw pictures, I know you're relatively new to the country, of the first Ethiopian-Israeli minister. Just what kind of impression does that make on you?
First of all, thank you. Yes, I made Aliyah last year. And it's good to be here, but in other side there is some difficulties because some of our family left in Gondar, in Ethiopia, but for us it's good to be here.
Right, and I want to go to you, Uri. What does the community expect? We saw some 100 Ethiopians today. Maybe give us a little background. That's this group, Beitar Israel, a little background on them, and what the community is hoping from this new Ethiopian-Israeli minister on the issue of their own community.
Yeah, so the 119 people who made Aliyah today, they're out of a group of thousands of Jews waiting in Gondar and in Addis-Abbaba, people who have left their villages and gave up all their property in order to make Aliyah to Israel. Most of their family is in Israel, so they split from their family, which made Aliyah. Some were left behind. And in 2015, the government headed by Prime Minister Netanyahu decided to bring all of the thousands of Jews to Israel. And that didn't happen yet. It's always been very small groups like the group we've seen this week. So we hope the new minister who's committed to this issue and has been active for it in the past will push in a ministry which hasn't been so pro the community for many years, for decades. So I think she can make history not only by being the first minister from Ethiopian descent, but also by finally making justice with the remaining Jews of Ethiopia, bring them to Israel, and possibly just end with our struggle and the struggle of the families, and it will definitely make it easier for them. As Gezahegn mentioned, it would make it easier for them to move forward in Israel when all of them would be
right.
here.
Well, let me go back to Gezahegn. Gezahegn, do you have family still there in Ethiopia that wants to come to Israel, and how describe their situation?
Yes. My older sister left there when we made Aliyah last year, and my older brother too. It's difficult for them, especially actually now the situation is not good, as you know, because of coronavirus, and especially for my community, for Ethiopian Jewish community, they have some financial problem, and everyone lives in a rental house. There is no way to pay for their rental house, and it's difficult to be separated from their family, their mother from their brother and sister. And you can take as example my sister and my brother, but there is a lot. As my brother already mentioned, Israeli government decided to bring 9,000 Jews, but still more than 6,000 left there, and some of them made Aliyah to Israel.
Right. Now, Uri, you mentioned some of the difficulties in integration. We've seen a lot of publicity the last year, relations with law enforcement and Ethiopians, but give us some of the key points that you would like to see, for example, the ministry deal with in terms of helping the integration of Ethiopian Jews.
So the ministry, the new ministry has Minister Pnina will deal mainly with solely with the new immigrants from Ethiopia. I mean, not only from Ethiopia, but her focus will be on the new immigrants. And the issue you mentioned of police brutality is also of people who were born here, and older immigrants and people who didn't immigrate and were born in Israel, as mentioned. But with the new immigrants from Ethiopia, the first mission and the main mission, as my brother Gezahegn mentioned, is to bring the remaining Jews from Ethiopia to Israel, because their families in Israel are suffering a lot. And afterwards, when bringing them to Israel, to treat them in respect, to treat them as people who had the right to make Aliyah and not as people who got this great favor done to them, as in the past some ministers treated the issue. I heard her today on an interview mentioning that in their absorption centers of the Ethiopian new immigrants, they didn't have air conditionings for many years, and now she changed that. So that's just a small example, but how they should be treated better.
Well, small examples count. Uri Perednik and Gezahegn Workie, thank you for joining us on The Rundown.